My parents stole my baby at birth and kept me from seeing him for 20 years. Now they want forgiveness because my mother is dying. I was 15 when I got pregnant, 16 when I had my baby. Immediately after giving birth, my mother had forms for me to sign telling me they were hospital admin forms. She was my mother, I believed her. They were actually adoption papers. My baby was taken right out of my arms and I didn't see him again for 20 years. The father of my baby and I were still together when I gave birth. His parents were not jumping for joy that we were kids having a baby, yet they were all in to help us. They helped me to get a job as a waitress in my boyfriend's uncle's restaurant. I worked nights and weekends. My boyfriend worked in his dad's auto parts store. Every dollar we made, we were saving for the baby. It wasn't much, but we were committed to the family we had started. My parents were not so supportive and kicked me out as soon as I told them. They harassed me constantly to get an abortion, then demanded I have the baby adopted. Once, my dad attacked my boyfriend on the street, and my mother accosted his mother in the middle of the mall. I stopped talking to them for months. Then one day they called and said they had a change of heart. They didn't want to lose me and the baby. I was worried but hopeful. My boyfriend's parents encouraged me to give them a chance. We all regretted it in the end. When I went into labor, I was at my parents' house. They took me to the hospital. They told me they couldn't get hold of my boyfriend or his parents. They promised me they would keep trying until they got someone on the phone. They lied. I left that hospital heartbroken and betrayed. I went to my boyfriend and his parents and we grieved together. Days later, my parents had me taken from their home and forced back to their house. I ran away, they dragged me back again and again. They finally let me go when I tried to unite myself. I hated them, I never wanted to see them again. When I was 22, my boyfriend and I got married. It wasn't a grand event. We were married at the courthouse, then went back to my in-laws for a backyard BBQ reception. A year later, we welcomed our second child into the world. The trauma from the events of the first time I gave birth hit us both hard, especially my husband. I would not have had it any other way, but he still demanded to be in the delivery room with me. I wanted my mother with us too. His dad and siblings waited on guard in the waiting room and outside the hospital. Overkill? Maybe, but we felt safer knowing there were people there for us, making sure nothing happened. I have given birth to a total of 4 babies. We love each one of them, and yet our hearts ached and yearned for our firstborn. Every day I thought of him and hoped that he went to a good family that loved him. Every year on his birthday, my husband would buy him a Matchbox car and I would bake him a rhubarb sponge pudding. We had no idea if he even liked rhubarb sponge pudding and Matchbox cars, or if he even knew what they were, but we did it anyway. My husband isn't a fan of cake, so I imagined our son also wasn't a fan. We would stick a candle in the sponge, sing the song, wish him a long and happy life, and take a photo of us and the kids around his rhubarb sponge pudding. It may seem stupid to some to keep that wound open, but it was how we coped with his loss. 4 years ago, I was out of town with my oldest daughter at a softball camp when our firstborn showed up at our home. My husband called to tell me to get home immediately. He didn't tell me why, but I could hear something in his voice I'd never heard before. Thinking something was wrong, I pulled my daughter out of camp and drove home. I can't quite find the words or express how I felt at what happened when we arrived home. Today we are in regular contact with our eldest. We talk often, video calls mostly. We like to see him, and he likes to see us when we talk. He games with his younger brothers and annoys the heck out of his sister, and they adore him. He was adopted by an older couple that couldn't have kids and was an only child. He loves having siblings. He has spent Christmas with us every year since he came back into our lives and stays for a month. For his birthday we all fly to him and stay for a week. I imagine correctly. He doesn't like cake. He doesn't like rhubarb either, so I bake him a peach sponge pudding. We also fly to him on the anniversary week of his parents' deaths. They died within days of each other. His father found us years before when our son first told his parents that one day he would like to meet us. I'm so grateful to the man and woman that adopted him. They gave him a good life with lots of love and raised a good son. I wish I could have known them. Thanked them. A few weeks ago my dad contacted my in-laws. My mother is dying. They have regrets and want to repair our relationship before she goes. Every part of me is against it. They can both choke to death on their regrets for all I care. There is not 1 ounce of me even a little bit willing to give them that. I hate them for what they did to us, for stealing our son, for taking him right out of my arms. All that time lost because of their cruelty and their selfishness. I hate them. My husband has no love for them at all, but he thinks it would be good for me to show them how well we've done, how good our life has been without them. He wants them to meet our kids, all our kids. He wants them to come face to face with the child they took from us. He wants to rub in their faces all they've missed out on and leave them with new regrets. I don't think they deserve to lay their eyes on so much goodness, but I think of my son and the good life he had, the good people that gave him that life. I can't say we would have been able to give him that. Who knows what life a couple of teenage parents would have been able to provide. Maybe we would have had the life we have if we had kept him. Maybe not. My Fael says probably not. The people who mean the most to me vary in their opinions about the situation, but they know us. They know more of our history than I wrote here. I'm hoping for impartiality from Reddit. Wibda, if I don't give my parents a chance,